right, there we are. We're going to adjust the screen here a little bit. So first off, like we said, welcome to the webinar. Sarah and I have been in the fitness industry for quite a while, and we're I'm not going to lie to you, we're kind of new to this whole recording ourselves. We've mostly done it live.
Face-to-face.
Yeah, face-to-face, knee-to-knee, in gyms, in a group setting. In fact, this past Saturday, we had over 40 people where we did training and stuff like that. Let's get right into it. My wife and I, we met in the fitness industry, and you can see some of the brands that we've worked with. My wife has, well, tell them a little bit about you and your education, because I can tell you, but
me and my education. Have a degree in health and wellness. Been a trainer with some National Stars, National Academy of Sports Medicine, NSCS, and trained athletes, trained in gyms, lots of things. I was going to say lots of things, and that's been what? Almost 20 years.
It's been
20 years.
It's been a little while.
20 years in the fitness industry. I'm not ashamed of that. You know, the enemy would like us to be ashamed of our age and how long we've been doing stuff, but no, it just comes wisdom. We've gained wisdom over the years.
Yeah, so I've trained a little bit longer. Mostly was in the sales side for most of that time, but selling personal training and basically helping trainers who, like Sarah. And Sarah used to be my employee.
I was terrible.
But I mean, here's the thing: if you love fitness, even just for yourself, or maybe you want to get to be a trainer one day. I used to tell my trainers all the time, I had a guy that had a master's degree in exercise science, and he had the passion, but he couldn't communicate it in such a way to get people actually want to buy training from him. So that's where I came in. We manage multiple Gold's gyms, and all that to say this is that the goal was to help people better themselves. And sometimes when you work for a big brand, you can only do what they want you to do. And so we were always looking for a way to what's the next best thing? Technology changes, the fitness industry changes, and so we were looking for how do we help our clients. But to be honest with you, you don't have time to research everything. And so when we came to you, or when this came to us, what we're about to share with you, we weren't really quite ready for it, to be honest with you. This whole concept of biohacking your body was a little different to us because we were really just used to, eat really good food, take supplementation, and things like that. So today, we're going to get into what that really is and maybe tell a little bit about what we've learned. So you're on here because we did a Facebook short video that basically said you're either being hijacked or you're being biohacked.
And we talked about the original design. We talked about how God made an amazing body, and it's being hijacked by the world around us. We talk about in Psalm 139, you're beautiful, you're fearfully and wonderfully made. And that is true. It's super true. But the world around us is telling us that it's not. As well as it's being bombarded by things all around us every single day that weren't there at the beginning of time, right? There was no pesticides in the garden, I don't believe.
I don't think they were spraying for weeds in the Garden of Eden. I'm pretty sure they were.
Sorry, that's pretty funny.
Yeah. But God made us, right? I mean, he has that original design, and I believe, like she said, as time goes on, things are changing. So this whole concept of being hijacked or biohacked is we are being hijacked by the food we eat, the toxins, like it says right here, physically, emotionally, biochemically, just the phone. I mean, how many of us always have that phone in our pocket or next to our head? Allergies, the world we live in is a phone.
And we try to do the best we can, but even if you're eating non-GMO, organic, you're still getting bombarded by a lot of these things that we talked about underneath there, the emotional and the chemicals in the air. You talk about the airplanes and the jet fuel. You're driving a car, or if you're riding a bus, if you're in a big city, there's still lots of stuff around you that you can't get away from, even if you try to eat the best you can.
Yeah. So biohacking is literally what it says, taking control of your own biology, optimizing that genetic potential we believe that God created in us with that original design, becoming that best version of God that God made you. And it's through a thing we call nutrigenomics. You can see from my shirt that I've got it written on here, nutrigenomics. It's how food and natural compound affect our genes. And what we love best about it is that it's helping you get back to that original design.
But it made me think about when you said that real quick. We've talked about this before, like Daniel eating the good foods and the original design. You know, at that time, he just was obeying God with not eating the king's food.
Yeah.
But little did he know, because the science wasn't there, of how it actually affects the inside of your body and how well they felt.
Yeah.
You know, being obedient to that. And so it's just, I don't know.
No, it's good, because if you think about in Deuteronomy, when the Lord basically told them to take their waste products and take it outside the camp and bury it, you know, they didn't know about germs. They didn't know about viruses back then. I mean, they were smart in a lot of other areas, but when it came to biology, they didn't know that. They just trusted God. And what we're about to share with you, this pathway and this whole thing about hacking, is getting to something that God already made. We are just now discovering it, and that's what's exciting.
Yeah, it's not new to him.
Not new.
He's just like, thanks for waking up and seeing what's in there.
Yeah, I already put that in there like thousands of years ago. So tonight or today or whenever you're watching this, I mean, this is kind of a funny picture. There's so much science that we literally could spend hours and hours and hours getting into this, but you're going to be kind of like this dog drinking through a fire hose. Grab what you can, and we'll be giving you plenty of links at the end where you can do research later. So don't feel bad if you don't get it all in. So let's dig right in. I mean, this whole concept of, you know, getting someone to live longer, it's not new, right? I mean, look at Time Magazine. This baby could live to be 142 years old. You know, if you look at Audrey Hepburn over here, beautiful at the prime of her life, but we're all aging, and so everybody's trying to figure out that science of how do we live longer, and it's not going anywhere. In fact, if you know anything about Google, right? Anybody think Google's a highly successful company? They are. Let me zoom in a little bit on this. Google, the search giants themselves, are looking to extend life, and I love what it says down below. It says this would be crazy if it wasn't for Google. You know, Google's got tons and tons of money. So all I want to do is just make the case that this whole thing about tackling aging, it's not like something new. I mean, how many of you guys want to age faster? You know, how many want to get crow's feet faster? Believe me, I wasn't always bald. But of course, she only knows me as bald. So if I tried to grow my hair, it'd be weird.
And not just aging, because we're talking about age leads to disease too.
Yeah.
So with that, people are trying to figure out how to live quality of life better, quality longer, the difference.
Yeah, who cares if you're going around at 90 years old or 80 years old, you could barely move, or even 60 years old and barely moving around. There's no sense in having quality. That's why if you look right here, this slide represents a company called Calico. It stands for California Life Company, and it's Google's basically main. They've contributed $1.5 billion. And if you look what I highlighted here, it says lead longer and healthier lives, because nobody just wants to live longer just for the sake of living longer. So that's what's really, really important, is really digging into that. So what we want to do is we want to kind of show you something that we saw in the fitness industry. Now, this is an ABC primetime investigation that we're about to show you. I got to tell you, let me just tell you this, because I wasn't looking for the next greatest thing. I wanted my clients to be better, but when I saw products come into our gym, I don't have time to do the research. I mean, do you? Every time somebody says, hey, this is the greatest product, Sarah, you're my trainer, you should check it out, right? I mean, so here's basically what I used to say. Listen, I don't want to see your brochures or marketing material, because, you know, that's what I do for a living, is I make branding and stuff. So I knew the brochures would say, hey, this is a great product. So I didn't want to see that. Also, I realized that, you know, things like, you know, turmeric or green tea or any of these other products that are out there, God made them. So it's not like you have some exclusive right to green tea. So I would go to a website, which I'll tell you later, to look for validity, for the fact that it's valid. And then when I did that, I actually saw some research, and that got me to watch what you're about to see, an ABC primetime investigation. Do you want to say anything about that before I hit play?
Mm-hmm.
So here's what I want you to do when you watch this. Remember, this is not a puff piece for a company. It was an investigation. So I want you to think about two things as you watch this short video. Number one, It's an investigation. So did they get the bad guy? Because that's the purpose of an investigation. And number two, this company and these products that we're about to show you are publicly traded. And so the question is, would this be an up-and-coming thing? So without further ado, we're going to show you this.
Tonight on ABC's Primetime Live, co-anchor John Quinones takes the promising antioxidant therapy called Protandim.
It's not a drug. It's a supplement. It's called Protandim, and it's a combination of 5 exotic plants that have been around for centuries.
Quinones has been taking Protandim for 2 weeks now and tells Extra,
I am sleeping better. I feel a lot better, and also energized when I do wake up.
Primetime puts Protandim to the test tonight.
You want to get an edge on turning back the clock with just a few pills? Who doesn't? Well, it's no longer science fiction, but science possibility, a potential breakthrough. As I found out firsthand, there may be a way to erase years, at least inside my body. Granted, it's down the road, but some scientists are wondering if a new pill I took might offer a very long life. Inside this nondescript building, I'm about to become part of an exciting experiment. I'm here at the University of Colorado in Denver to meet Dr. Joe McCord, a world-renowned scientist. This is pretty exciting stuff you're finding, huh?
It is. We're very excited about it.
His latest research could very well unravel the mystery of aging itself. And his decades of experiments may have the potential of adding years to people's lives and possibly prevent chronic diseases like cancer, diabetes, and heart disease. It all centers around this small yellow pill, and for me, it begins with a blood test. They want to check my levels of something called T-bars, which is a rough indicator of a person's actual age. T-bars can identify a condition known as oxidative stress, a kind of measure of the wear and tear on our bodies. Oxidative stress, like the rusting of an engine, is not a good thing.
Bad for the body.
Leading to disease.
Leading to disease and leading to malfunction, and importantly, leading to what we call aging. It is a slow progression of increasing oxidative stress. That's the main characteristic biochemically of the aging process.
The problem of aging begins with the very food we eat to give us energy. As our cells burn that food, they also release toxic chemicals. Those chemicals, you may know them as free radicals, react with all the components of our cells, literally bombarding them millions of times per second, damaging all our cells. The result? Oxidative stress. And we all have it. And so, here I go. With that swallow, I've just become part of a potentially landmark scientific experiment. It's called Protandim, and tests on both mice and humans have already shown that it revs up the manufacture of those good enzymes in our bodies. More enzymes, fewer free radicals to harm us.
Right now, all we know is that this preparation decreases oxidative stress. Oxidative stress is not a disease, just like aging is not in itself a disease, but it's something that accompanies and is attached to many disease processes.
Have you discovered the fountain of youth?
We may have discovered something that will tell us a lot more about how we age, what happens biochemically, and maybe how we can slow it down. And so you can see the age-related.
Normally, oxidative stress, measured by those T-bars, increases with age. But in Dr. McCord's tests, taking just one pill of Protandim a day reversed that trend for everyone at every age, even for an 80-year-old.
They all are reduced to the level of oxidative stress that one would expect, frankly, in a newborn or a very young child.
Back to the oxidative stress levels of a child? It sounds too good to be true. Will Protandim work on me?
The scientific evidence is there. The pieces seem to make sense. The question is, does this translate into something that humans can take advantage of?
So, just what's in this seemingly incredible pill? Well, actually, its roots are very humble. Protandim is a combination of 5 plant ingredients. Some you may know: green tea or turmeric, a spice used in Indian cooking. Others, Withania somnifera and Silybum marianum, are more exotic.
There's a huge human experience with each of these ingredients. They've been used often in traditional medicine in India and China and many other cultures, in some cases centuries and centuries.
And so, ancient Eastern healing and modern Western medicine may soon be working together. High oxidative stress is associated with more than aging. It's been linked to hundreds of illnesses.
It's at the very center of many diseases: liver disease, diabetes, emphysema, asthma. I've studied all of these: strokes, heart attacks.
Even mental disease.
Yes.
Depression?
Alzheimer's disease, depression.
We make no claims about curing any disease or preventing any disease.
But what about my progress? After nearly 2 weeks now, it's time to get my results. Dr. McCord calculates the numbers. The result? My level of oxidative stress has declined dramatically.
45%, that's excellent.
Just look at where I fall on the graph, before and after.
Which, if extrapolated back, is the level you would see in a newborn baby.
Have we turned back the clock? Well, maybe not on the outside, but deep inside within my cells. Yes, indeed. The company that makes Protandim says its tests show the pill, made from ingredients used for centuries, is absolutely safe.
All right, so if you're still with us, one of the things that you heard was a phrase called oxidative stress. Sarah, tell me a little bit about what oxidative stress is.
Just the browning of an apple, how oxygen affects the cells of your body, damaging them. And we get that from everything. We were just talking about how your body's being hijacked. And all those things on the left side of your screen, the left side, right side?
I don't know.
Okay, so where the apple is are affecting the browning or the rusting inside our body. We don't see it, we don't necessarily feel it until on the right side we see a disease pop up from something, and then we feel it.
Right. And like we said earlier, all of these things, oxidative stress is just another way of being hijacked. Our bodies are being hijacked. I mean, they didn't have all the herbicides and fungicides and pesticides, way back in biblical times. It wasn't there. And all of those things lead to disease. So I love the slide on the right that basically shows that oxidative stress in itself is not a disease, but that breaking down of our bodies leads to disease. And that's what is very interesting. Now, this is a website called pubmed.gov. It's the largest online resource by the National Institutes of Health. This is what doctors use. And you can notice right here, I searched for oxidative stress. And this was actually a little bit ago, so there's more than this now, but 181,000 studies showing that oxidative stress is a problem. And if you look over to the corner there, you can see that thing that looks like a ramp. Well, that's every year how many studies were published to this website. And again, this is peer-reviewed studies. We won't go all into this, but there's a major difference between peer-reviewed and published studies. So oxidative stress is a big deal, and it's really a big deal in my family. And if you look closer on this slide and you start looking at the different diseases that are linked to it, over here in the corner, excuse me, my father and my mother both died from diabetes-type complications. My grandma died from osteoporosis and suffered from that kind of stuff. And then down at the bottom, my other grandmother died of Alzheimer's. And then just not too long ago, my sister passed away from cancer. So oxidative stress, you may not wake up in the morning and say, oh, my oxidative stress is killing me. But I promise you that it's happening all around us, and we're being hijacked. And it affects your family. And so if you could reduce that significantly, that would make a major, major difference.
It would. And if you, I'm going to put this out there, if you ask your doctor what oxidative stress is, they will know what you're talking about, but they don't talk about it to you because they don't have a way to fix it.
Right. In fact, one of the people that we brought this to, he went to our church, he's a medical doctor, and he said, of course I know what oxidative stress is, Rich, but there's really not a good way to address it. And you can see right here with my parents dying of diabetes, I mean, at this time, there was almost 14,000 studies that link oxidative stress and this particular disease together. And that's what you want to do. I mean, if something is in your family, does oxidative stress affect it? And you're going to find out more often than it's not. or that it's linked together. So what do we do? So one of the things that you could do is you could start taking, vitamin C. We've all heard that it is good for us. What do most people do when flu season comes around?
Vitamin C, antioxidants, blueberries,
Yep.
right?
And I know you all do your research. You want to be, really good at what do I take, right? But how many of you really did like 2 months of research before you started taking vitamin C?
Or even blueberries. You see commercials all over the place, right?
Yeah.
You should eat these. They're good.
But one of the things that people do is, like you mentioned, during cold season, they megadose. Like, I'm going to take tons and tons of that. Well, what we found, there's a new book out that actually is called Deadly Antioxidants, and how your daily vitamins actually could be causing cancer, shortening your life, because it's throwing your body out of balance and it's causing more problems. Mm-hmm. Well, then maybe the solution is they should just eat lots of oranges, right? You could do that.
Yep. Because based on the oxidative stress that you get just from, or how much oxidative stress your body actually produces in one day, is similar to eating this many oranges to combat that stress.
Right.
And we all know what happens if you eat that many oranges.
Yeah, I don't recommend that.
Then you'll have another problem that you go to the doctor for, probably.
But it's impossible to consume that many, right? So what we're talking about is two different approaches. The first approach would be, like she says, eating all those blueberries. And we're not saying don't eat your blueberries, right?
No,
That's not what we're saying.
It's good. You got vitamins and minerals in there that your body needs.
Mm-hmm.
But your antioxidants, there's a better way to combat the stress that's in your body than eating your antioxidants.
So we're talking about solutions for being hijacked or oxidative stress. And so you can see it says direct antioxidants. That's what's called exogenous. It's exogenous, sounds like exit, and it means something outside. You're bringing something from the outside in, and that's attacking those free radicals. But the science is a 1-to-1 ratio. It'd be like, this cup right here, this bottle, to a house fire. That's not going to get a lot of stuff done. So we're talking about something different, which is NRF2 activation. Now, this is this pathway that we've been talking about. It's something that God already placed in our body, and it's turning on your body, right? And you can see down here certain enzymes that are activated through this NRF2 pathway: catalase, glutathione, SOD just stands for superoxide dismutase. It eliminate 1 million free radicals per second. So you guys, when winter comes around, do you guys have all that wood delivered to your house? That's one way to heat your house. And
it's a lot of work. Your body, it's kind of like the food that you're eating. Your body has to take a lot of work to break it down to be able to use it.
Yeah. So this is a way that people heated their homes for many years. But you know what? Now, today, we go to the thermostat. And we just turn on the thermostat. And so I always tell people, stop buying into the hype and actually start looking at the science that's out there. And that's what we're talking about, biohacking your body. How your body can use certain things to turn on pathways. Mm-hmm. And so that's what we're talking about. And you can see our website here, nerf2freedom.com. If you want to learn more about the products that are behind us and stuff like that, you can go to nerf2freedom.com. But what we're talking about is a big word. How do you say that word? Nutrigenomics. It's on my shirt. It's a big word, and it's a big deal, just saying. And it's so big, I want to show you this. The founder, the guy on the video that you saw, this white-haired guy, Dr. McCord, how many of you guys have ever heard of him? I didn't know who he was until I saw that video.
No, I didn't even know what that little medal was either.
Wasn't that a coin? Can you cash that in somewhere?
Sure.
No, it's actually called the Elliott Crescent Medal, and you can see the black and white photos. Who's that one there? It's Alexander Graham Bell. You've got Henry Ford. You got Orville Wright, which, by the way, I just find it funny. Orville Wright and his brother, Wilbur, they didn't have a pilot's license to operate that thing because they were so cutting edge. It was so new. If you think about Henry Ford, when Henry Ford discovered a way to mass produce automobiles, because he didn't discover and figure out how to make it, he discovered how to mass produce it.
So Joe McCord is in the category with all of these guys because they all changed the way that we do something. Yeah. And that's what he figured out with the actual study that he did, and then ABC got wind of this study. Yep. He didn't go out and look for it. ABC said, what is that you're doing? And he had just changing the way that we are looking at how to activate our body. Instead of taking antioxidants, looking at activating our body to do what God already designed it to do, learned how to make it.
Yep.
You know, and as we get older, those systems turn off. So as we activate it, it's like the thermostat, turning it back on to control the things that it knows how to do.
Right. So, like she said, he's in the same category. He won that same medal. And Henry Ford, I love his quote. Henry Ford basically said, if I would have asked people what they wanted, they would have said, well, give us faster horses. They had no clue that there was a different way to do it. And so that's what we're talking about, guys, something that I believe is going to radically change the way we do things. You'll see a day when people say, I don't take antioxidants. My body makes them. But it's foreign. It's like looking at your cell phone and trying to explain it to somebody 20 years ago. I mean, think about it. Maybe some of you guys are watching this video on your cell phone. Think about that 20 years ago. So look at the patents. That's another thing I love about this product is that it's patented. And it's been seen on many different broadcasts and stuff like that. So
you're not going to find wall. You're not going to find wall tandem. I was going to say there's a lot of validity behind it, and they have the patents because of what we're going to go into of how it was formulated.
Yeah, love it. You're not going to see wall tandem at Walmart because this is the only company that has it. So that's exciting. So you might be asking yourself, what's in this stuff, right? And you can see down at the bottom, there's turmeric, milk thistle, green tea, bacopa, ashwagandha. And this product, and you've probably seen it from the John Quinones, how many of you guys have watched enough to know how much his oxidative stress was reduced by? What would you remember the number?
45%?
45% reduction in less than a month.
Yep.
So this product is clinically proven to reduce it by 40% in just 30 days. And it's the products synergistically working together is the crucial part to understand. Because many people could have said, well, let's go out and, what were you going to say?
Go back.
Okay, go back. Sorry.
So you could go back out. But I want to show you one thing on here. It's the validation of it. It's down in the corner. You see the BSCG, the Banned Substance Control Group, and the National Science Foundation have put their stamp of approval on it. So we're talking about the validity of what was found, that it's not a drug like a drug. You're actually looking at the validity.
It's a natural compound.
Natural compound.
Yep.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And we'll just say that makes a good point, because in the smaller writing, we say that this product doesn't cure, treat, or mitigate any disease because it's not a pharmaceutical drug. It's a natural product, and natural products don't treat dis-ease. Mm-hmm. So that's the big thing. But we can say clinically proven to reduce oxidative stress. And if you remember from the wheel we showed you, that's the big thing. So some of you might be thinking, well, listen, I already take some of these things. And that's great that you do. I love your analogy before we started this webinar. You talked about the cookie.
The cookie. Yeah, so if I wanted to make a cookie, you got eggs, flour, or if you're gluten-free, you got all these other things, right? And you could eat them all differently, but it sure isn't going to taste like a cookie. Got some baking soda, a little chocolate, maybe some flour.
Yeah, don't serve me that stuff.
That's not a cookie. You're not going to get the same thing.
So that's a good point. So if you look at the ingredients at the bottom, this just shows how much NRF2 activation is in each of those ingredients separately. And then you can see Protandim NRF2 is an 18-fold increase in expression of the gene. So there's a magic to it all working together synergistically, and it's kind of like a 5-digit combination lock. Once you open it, it activates that NRF2 pathway, and that NRF2 pathway is amazing, right?
It is, absolutely. So the problem was oxidative stress. And Dr. McCord found a way to activate this protein through those ingredients we just talked about. Mm-hmm. So I wanted to make sure that you understand the distinction, because all of a sudden you're hearing NRF2, you're like, oxidative stress, how do these relate? Okay. Oxidative stress is your problem, and NRF2, that's what Dr. McCord figured out how to activate, and being able to be the master regulator of some genes within our cells.
And it says the word extraordinary twice. I love that. This is by the University of Washington, which is just north of us. And it says it's the most extraordinary preventive breakthrough in the history of medicine. And in fact, pharmaceutical companies are clamoring around trying to get their patents, trying to get their products as a synthetic NRF2 activator. And this is just a good example of that. This is a product made by Biogen. It's a Nrf2 activator, and before any drug goes to market, you have to test it to make sure that it doesn't have overwhelming side effects. I mean, if you die every time you take it, probably nobody will take it. And so side effects are big in pharmaceuticals. And so they contracted a lab that was separate from the drug company. And interestingly, they put Protandim in the study because it's a Nrf2 activator. Look what it says in green, right? Interestingly, Protandim, a dietary supplement consisting of herbal ingredients, was the most potent inducer and would be considered a better therapeutic strategy. I kind of loosely did that, but that's what it's saying. And I love this because this is a medical slide that just shows the activation of different products. Sarah, do you remember what sulforaphane was in D?
Broccoli.
Broccoli. Well, we've all been told broccoli's good for you.
Yeah.
It's because it's a Nrf2 activator. Unfortunately, it only does about 21, which is not very much. And so just to give you an idea, it's kind of like a light. I mean, if we were doing this Zoom or this video in the dark, probably wouldn't be able to enjoy it much because you can't see anything. So broccoli is just a small Nrf2 activator.
It's just a little candle. So yeah, broccoli would just be a little tiny candlelight in the room.
Now, if you look at C, that's the Tecfidera product that I just told you about earlier. And here's what's interesting. How much does Tecfidera cost for a 30-day supply right now?
That's about $5,000, and it's an MS drug.
And again, it's a drug, but $4,000 to $5,000, and its fold induction is 55. Protandim is not only the most potent inducer, but there's no side effects. There's no known side effects for taking Protandim, which is so awesome. So let's talk a little bit about, because we've been talking about aging and stuff like that, and we're both in the fitness industry. Many people might be watching this. They're thinking, listen, I'm 20 years old. I mean, I'm in the best shape of my life. How does Nrf2 activation do anything for me?
Yeah, absolutely. So not only are you looking at preventing, because they also say that the sooner you take it in life, the chances of warding off disease, if you want to say that the right word, are better. So obviously preventing, but if you're looking at the here and now, there's a lot of things that happen in your body to increase your genetic potential.
Yeah.
So one of the, I don't know if you remember on the last slide, glutathione, within the studies, they found that this increases our own glutathione production by 300%.
Wow.
And glutathione needs to be in this Krebs cycle. This Krebs cycle is basically your energy cycle within your cells, creating energy. And it needs to be present to be able to create the energy for you. So if you're creating your own up to 300%, the turnover and the recovery rate, when you're doing anything, whether you're moving to a new house and you've got to carry all these boxes, your recovery rate, or you're athletic and you're running races or lifting weights, the recovery is amazing. As well as glutathione is needed to repair the lining of your lungs. So all of that breaking down in the breathing and the oxygen that you are, or the oxidative stress that you're creating within those lungs, with exercising, you're needing that to recover and repair so that you can move on to the next step of the process.
Yeah. So this is not just for people trying to stay younger. It's actually for recovery, and that's one of the things Sarah noticed. She's a runner and she's big into that. So recovery is really, really, really huge.
And there's also a patent. There's also a patent on reducing inflammation.
Yeah.
So if you're looking at that recovery, that's fantastic. You got your muscles, you got your joints, everything.
One of the things I really noticed was the deeper REM sleep that I have, and that's your recovery sleep. And if you can get into REM and stay into REM longer, your body can heal itself better. So this stuff's so awesome. You might be thinking to yourself, well, why am I learning about it on a webinar? What the front door? So let me give you a little history, because that ABC Primetime investigation that you saw, it's old. It aired in 2005.
Yeah.
And I'm not going to spend a lot of time on this, but you guys, basically, you're going to be, as you get through this, you're going to be like, okay, this sounds really good. I might want to be a part of it. But there's a story that you need to understand why it's being told this way. So this ABC video, when it aired, they got $5 million in orders that came over that weekend. Like I said, the stock's publicly traded. It went from $1 a share to $20 overnight. But how many of you watching this right now can tell me the top primetime investigators in an investigation that aired 8 months ago? Well, you probably don't know, right? I don't know. somebody cheated and said it was probably about Trump. But the point of the matter is you couldn't tell me specific details. And that's what happened to this company. They had an amazing product, but they had no infrastructure, no sales team, no marketing team, and they really lost momentum. I mean, you remember how long people were waiting to get a bottle?
I think it was like 8 months or so.
Yeah, 8 months or so to get a bottle, and so people kind of forgot. So the company got together and they said, listen, we need to get this product out on the shelf. We're losing traction. And so that's where it sat, on a shelf like this. And I don't know about you, but when I walk into a GNC, no product jumps out and says, hey, I'm the one you're looking for, right?
No.
So if it's sitting next to vitamin C, let's say another antioxidant type product, which one do you buy? You buy vitamin C because that's what you're used to. That's what you've been told. But what the heck is this Protandim Nerve2 Active? What? I don't know what that is. And so they literally decided to go a different route. Reluctantly, they decided to go through person-to-person distribution, or what we call network marketing. And now they pay storytellers. And that's why we're telling the story. Is I always like to say I'm an overpaid storyteller. So when they went that way, they had a lot of the what's that word?
Validity.
That word, validity. But because other people saw that video, it wasn't just consumers, people like Ohio State University, Harvard, Louisiana State, American Heart Association did. So they had tons of credible institutions and universities studying the validity of this product, which really began to launch it. And today, if you go to PubMed, you're going to see 23 peer-reviewed studies. So we want to give them places to look. I mean, don't take our word for it.
No.
We did our research. We want you to do some research too. But so here's a couple places they can go.
Yep. So Biohacking Your Body. And if you look at this, you can look at the patents. You can look at research. You can look at the studies. You can go through all sorts of things to look at stuff. And in both of these, you're not just going out there to Google land, because anything can go on Google land. You're looking at some places here that actually have some science behind them.
Yeah. So biohackingyourbody.com, I'm not going to lie to you, I actually put that site together because I wanted an easy place for people to look at stuff. So you can see down at the bottom the studies and things like that. PubMed, just type in Protandim. That's what I did. I told you at the very beginning of this thing that I didn't want to see ingredients. I didn't want to see the brochures. I typed the name of the product, because Protandim just means products working together. Mm-hmm. There's 23, now if you look right here, 24 peer-reviewed studies on the name of it. I would challenge you to do that with any other company. I have never seen it personally. Here's another place you can go. Again, PubMed. Type in Nerve2. When I first heard of Nerve2, I thought it's the ball you throw in the yard. Hey, go long, I'll throw the Nerf to you. What? Mm-hmm. So there's another great place. Obviously, study Nerve2. And then like Sarah said, don't just use Google, use Google Scholar. And you'll basically just see studies and things like that that'll help you have validity.
Not just somebody's website or their opinion on it. You're looking at the science behind it.
Yep. So one of the things we wanted to show you, this is, we talked about the validity. The National Institutes of Aging, they did a 10-year study on multiple different products, some synthetic, some natural, and they were basically trying to find one thing. Can we extend human life? So that's a little bit sped up. I'm not going to lie to you. Some of those maybe have seen that before. That was a little faster. But I wanted to get through it because it talked about green tea, resveratrol, other products. And Protandim was the only product proven to extend life. And I'm going to take you back to probably almost the first slide or so that we showed you was Google. Do you remember what Google's goal was? To extend human life. And it's crazy because Protandim, Nerve2 activation, was the only product proven to actually do that. And it's not $4,000 a month. It's $41 a month plus your shipping cost. And that's biohacking your body and getting it back to the original design that God gave us in the first place.
Yeah. So it goes back to exactly what we were talking about, being hijacked or biohacking it and learning how to turn on the body rather than
doing it the old-fashioned way, eating oranges, lots of oranges. So I basically only have like 2 slides left. I want to just show you this slide. I photoshopped this. But we all know that this is Thomas Edison. If you don't know, that's who it is. Thomas Edison. And he didn't necessarily invent electricity. I think between him and Tesla, something happened. But the point of the matter is the technology exists. And for hundreds and hundreds of years, candlelight was the way we got around. The way we did things in our house, whether it was an oil or a candle or whatever. That was the technology for many years. And I believe today we've got obviously something like the light bulb, because you can't go anywhere in the world and not see his technology. It's everywhere. And so the question is, you could live the rest of your life being hijacked by everything that's around us and try to fix it with old technology, but we believe there's a way to get past that. And if you ask everybody in your area what Nerve2 is, probably nobody would know what it is. But if you asked them what an iPad was, everybody would know what that is. There's coming a day, we believe, that people will going to be activating their body. And that's what we call the little yellow pill, biohacking your body to the way it needs to be. And do you have anything you want to say that? Because I just would like to let them know where they can connect with us.
Some of you are probably praying for a solution to something that's going on in your body right now. And God does lots of miracles, but a lot of times he works through people. And we believe we're just showing you a way that he would love to do a miracle in your body by activating what's already there.
Yeah, absolutely. And we started this whole thing in prayer, and I'm going to end it in prayer. Just let you know, we have a community that you could be a part of. If you go to Facebook and just go to Nerve2 Athlete, that's where we're at. There's lots of studies on there. There's a community there of almost 5,000 people. We just want to invite you there. But the purpose of this, like Sarah said, is it's from our heart. We believe that God has an original design, and once we understood it and activated it, it's been there the whole time. And we just want to help as many people as we can. So as we end this, you're basically going to be one of 3 people. You're going to be somebody that somehow got onto this video and don't know why you did, and you're really not all that interested in health in anyway. And that's okay. There's people like that. Number 2 is you're going to be like, listen, if this works as half as good as you've shown, I want to try it. And if you do, definitely connect with us, and we'll help you with that. Or you can go send us a message through Nerve2 Athlete, and we can help you with that. And basically get you one-on-one, because that's what we really want to do.
Yeah, we don't want to spam you by sending you more crap. No,
we actually really want to talk to you on the phone and connect with you. And then number 3 is, some of you are like, this really resonates with me. I like what you're doing. I love the idea of original design. I love this. I've never heard of it before. And you see that there's an opportunity. We are looking for some people to partner with. 80% of our business is just customers, though. But if you're somebody that's on that other side, is like, I would love to do what you're doing. Tell me more about how I can maybe be paid to teach people about biohacking your body. We would love to connect with you on that. Anything else I might be missing?
No, we just thank you for your time, for taking the time to learn about this. We just appreciate that, to be able to share it with you.
All right, I'm going to end this in prayer. Most people don't do their webinars that way, but I just feel like we should. So I'm just going to say, Lord, bless the people that took the time to watch this all the way through. And God, we always pray, Lord, lead us to the right people, because most importantly than anything is them knowing who you are. And as we follow the way of the Master, you healed the sick, you cared about their physical needs, and you thirdly fed them and you were concerned about that situation. And so, God, we pray for the people that are watching this, and wherever they're at in those 3 areas, we ask you to bless their lives and make yourself real to them. And we thank them, God, for taking the time. More importantly, may we honor you with the body that you gave us, and may we reflect you to the world. In Jesus' name, amen.
Amen.
All right, as we like to end it, love God and live with passion.
Have a great day.